Hi, welcome to the Commercial Gas Engineer channel. Just going to go through some normal and abnormal, or should I say stranger things that happened when servicing. This was an idle Concorde where the insulation was there, but I had one where the insulation dropped out and I had to shut the boiler down. This was a Hamworthy boiler where I was carrying out some repairs. A lot of them needed thermocouples changing in order to get them work, and also the test point, the burner pressure test point needed changing, because as you know, on some of these units you have test points that are on the gas valve, and on some of the units, depending on what gas valve you have, you do not have a test point on there. So if the one on the burner bar is damaged, you need to get a new one. So I was taking off the bolts on this unit and removing it, putting the bolts over here nice and safely, and then pulling the unit out. The unit was a bit difficult to get out, so had to put a screwdriver down the side and prise it forward. Sometimes, as you know, these units, it could be years before they've even been pulled out and cleaned. The condition of this one, you could see some of the holes were blocked. So nothing too abnormal here. I have a few different methods of cleaning these down. I use a wire brush or a brush on a drill. There's a brush on a drill that I use sometimes. At other times I use a wire brush or a combination of both and some water. Let me know what method you use to brush these down and so on. By the way, Lidl has some wire brushes that they're selling for £5. They're pretty sturdy, good wire brushes for a fiver. Okay, just about to clean up the thermocouple, but on a lot of them the thermocouples were in bad shape and needed changing. They were the prime suspect of a few of these boilers being down. And I got some water and washed it through. Then so here's the inside. Also, I like to brush up inside the unit as well to get off any excess dust. I believe I was trying to get it to 11 millibar. So I'm making some tweaks. Sometimes some of these gas valves are very sensitive. Other times you come across some of them, as you may know, where you make adjustments and there's nothing happening and the gas valves need replacing. Okay, on this unit, on another unit, I'm just checking to see why the unit's locking out. And this is me loosening up another unit to come out, another burner. Here it is, disconnecting the gas valve. It's a Purewell 80. So many different versions of these. And then whilst carrying out servicing as well, come across a pump that decided to just burst on the bellows. How convenient. It's convenient when you catch these as they happen, not long after they happen, so that limited damage is done to pumps and so on. So there it is, isolated. And then whilst carrying out servicing as well, sometimes you have systems that you come across where the pressure is low. So this is one of those stranger things situations where come across a system where this pump is upset and going into fault mode because the system pressure isn't happy. But it's funny because I switched it over to the other pump, the other twin pump, and it was happy. So it's like one sensor was ultra sensitive and the other one wasn't sensitive enough. So as you can see on this pressurization unit, the pressure is very low. And one of the pumps were failing. Pump number 2 was failing on the pressurization unit. So I was using pump 1 on hand to pressurize the system. And also I had the quick fill open as well at the same time. to assist topping the system up. As you can see, that's the pressure, and it started to go up. The quick fill is open. Do remember to cap these afterwards. Remember to put a cap so there's no so you don't contravene the cold water regs. So just here venting the pump. This gauge beside it is knackered. The one on the other side of the pump isn't. It's nice when there's gauges, pressure gauges either side of the pump. So there was water in there, just making sure, and just forcing the pumps to pressurize the system as well as the quick fill. So the system was going up, as you can see, quite quickly. I wasn't there very long. And I was just checking the expansion vessel to make sure it had air in there, that it was charged. It wasn't the extensive test of isolating and so on and attaching the gauge. Then I was checking the other gauges because, as you know, the gauges can be faulty. So I was just having a look at what different gauges were saying, how much pressure was in the system, and checking the temperatures. So despite what was happening, the temperatures were still good in the system. And I was trying to bring my pressure up still. It's good to take pictures of control panels before you start touching them to remember what things were on and so on. Here just tested my pump, which was at fault when I arrived on the site, but then after repressurizing the system, the pump was happy. It stopped coming up with a fault code. Then I aimed to leave my pumps in auto as I found them, and my system is getting up to the right pressure. So I closed my quick fill and put a cap on it. You can see the system. You can see the system topping up. You can see the water going in the system here. I had the pump running on the pressurization unit. You can see the high pressure alarm there, the low pressure alarm setting. Here's a few more snippets of me cleaning the burners down with the spray gun. So just, and then obviously and then afterwards just drying them down with a damp cloth, and then thankfully getting some good readings afterwards after cleaning the units. Here's a look inside the system's control panel. It's a bit old. And then the strangest thing that I came across was a boiler that wasn't burning properly. It was there was a lot of blockage. It hadn't been serviced properly for some time, and the unit had to be isolated and a warning notice put on it because of the way it was burning. All right, thank you for joining me. Please leave a comment in the sections below. Until next time, bye bye bye.